Welcome to the show, Brett. I'm glad that we could connect. I'm glad you reminded me that it was Wednesday because I had completely forgotten what day it was. So, tell me, we were going to have some guests tonight. Why don't you kind of explain what's happening in that regard?
Oh, we were supposed to have Sarah Montgomery, and um, she tried. She was trying as hard as she could to feel better today to get on the show, but ended up coming down with an illness, and the flu's going around. Everybody's getting
Yeah,
it. It's been in my house here lately, and I'm hoping I don't get it. But
right.
so then we tried to do it last minute with Hannah Grisham, and we couldn't get that taken care of. She might jump on here, so
If
but
she does, we'll welcome her. And, if not, we got four people watching, and I'm actually on my phone, everybody. So I don't want to do too much because I don't want to lose you. Tammy Power says, thanks for the most thoughtful and beautiful birthday card. You know what, Tammy? I love sending cards. I use send out cards. We might as well plug it. We got nothing else to do, right? I use send out cards. I love the system. I've used it for over 10 years. I love being able to put pictures from Facebook or wherever you have pictures from on cards and sending birthday cards and congratulation cards and thinking of you cards and the easy part of it is I do it all on my laptop or my phone depending where I'm at. I can do it on my phone. And I send them out and I get the best messages. And that's not why I do it. I do it because I love to send cards. But when you get messages like that, like Tammy just said, it just makes your day. And then you're like, yeah, that's why I do it. Because people love getting birthday cards. And Brett, sometimes it's the only card they get. I
yep,
hear it all the time. So anyway, we'll just plug send out cards. That's how we help pay for what we're doing
yep.
is send out cards. So we might as well plug it.
Yeah,
But
we've gotten a couple cards from you, and just throughout the year,
yeah,
it's nice to get something like that. So
yeah. It is. So thanks everybody for getting on with us. Unfortunately, sometimes things happen and we don't have a guest. And honestly, I've been up since 7 a.m. and I've been working. My granddaughter came and helped me today, and we have sorted, pitched, moved, went to Goodwill, all kinds of stuff. I'm worn out. And so we'll just chat. And Brett, why don't you tell us how your racing went over the weekend? We always talk about that.
we went to English Creek, and which is in Knoxville, Iowa. Adriana ended up, we're finding the speed we need. So she was battling back and forth for third place there most of the race, which was with a guy that's leading the points that usually wins. He must have been having an off night, but she was keeping up with the faster guys. We're almost there. We changed a few things for tomorrow night or for Friday night, and we're hoping that gets us there because English Creek, the Nationals are coming up, and
Hmm.
it's a 2 day show, and there's a lot of stiff competition that comes from all over the country.
Yeah.
And Drake ended up 13th. On a fast, it was a tacky track, so his motor just don't have the horsepower on a fast track. But it was a good
Yeah.
weekend. No attitudes. It's always a good weekend when nobody has an attitude after the race.
Right. Right. Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. And so nationals are coming up the week. So I believe they will be the 8th and 9th of August. Is that right?
Yep.
Monday and Tuesday?
Yep.
Yeah. So I get to come back to Iowa that week. So I'll get to see my buddies in person, my Timmerman family. I love them. They're part of my family. And on Wednesday, I might as well plug this too. So on Wednesday, Lori Cutter and Lori with Champion Race Promotions, she and I are going to host again an event geared towards women, but not just for women. So it's going to be at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame. We're going to have refreshments, light refreshments. It starts at 10 o'clock in the morning. So from 10 to about 11:30, we're going to have some guest speakers. Actually, Lynn St. James is going to come and be on the program via Zoom, which we're really excited about. And then we're going to have Taylor Cool is going to be on there, one of the local drivers there in Iowa. She's an amazing young woman. And Taylor McLean's going to be on, who was our guest last week. So she's going to be on the on the program. And then I think Lori has someone else, but I'm not 100% sure who that is yet. And so we're excited about that because last year was our first one, and we had it in like what they call the auditorium. And I'm guessing it seated maybe 50 people, and they were lined up around the room, which was really cool because you don't know when you're having something for the first time if anybody's going to show up. And nobody out there knows me. I'm not really anybody in the sprint car world. And so they're like, who's this lady, But we had a huge crowd. We had a great panel. So they asked us if we do it again. And of course we said yes. And so they moved us now to I think the banquet hall or something. So it's plenty of room, come one, come all, men, women, boys, girls. And we're going to have some great conversation. We're going to have some great information, and it'll be fun. And so I think the first 100 people get some kind of goodie bag, and it's free. How can you beat that? You're going to get, I think, donuts and some kind of refreshment, bagels or whatever, and the whole thing's free. So August 10th, 10 a.m., National Sprint Car Hall of Fame. And so we'll plug that because we really want to fill the room. That would be awesome.
Yeah, so that same week, we race Monday, Tuesday at Knoxville, Wednesday, Thursday in Illinois, and in Viola, Illinois. Or I apologize, it would be Viola, Illinois, and then Friday, Saturday is Cologne, Illinois. So we race 6 days that week. We're gonna try to make that show. I want Hannah to be there, so we're staying the night in Knoxville, anyways. So before we head out, we'll maybe swing in there and.
That'd be great. Would love for you to be there. I know it's hard, and there's a lot. Like I spoke to Kelly Earnhardt Miller, and asked her about coming, and she's got the same issue you have. That Wyatt's going to be racing all those places too. I'm assuming the same places you are. And so they get up early on Wednesday and they leave and they head to the next place. So that takes away the parents and the kids from that. But there's so many people that come to Knoxville that week. So we're hoping to really fill the room. And oh, Fiona, I wish you could be there too. Fiona says, I wish I could be there. And she says, you race during the week over there. Well, the reason, I'll let Brent explain. Why do you race during the week in August?
So that same week is the 360 Nationals at Knoxville, Iowa. So basically English Creek, where we, is a pretty big go-kart track for us. They started doing Monday, Tuesdays. Knoxville don't race, so they're basically the start of the week for the sprint cars. And it just, now every track is following English Creek. So nobody wants to step on anybody's toes. So they're just making it where we can race every single day, which it's fun. It's like living like a professional. So it's a good time. We love it. It draws a lot of people. It's good money. It's all big money races for most of the classes, and that's basically how it got started. Was all because of Knoxville.
Yeah, and so it makes the little kids kind of feel like they're big kids or big, because they see all those people coming to Knoxville, and World of Outlaws and everybody, they all race all different kinds of days, really. And so it makes those kids excited for that week, and parents know that if they work, that's the week they take vacation. Because if you're a racing parent, you don't have a life other than racing. And where else would you rather be than at racetracks all week anyway for vacation? I mean, that's what I would do. And so otherwise, you really don't race during the week. Pretty much hardly ever. It's always the weekend, isn't it?
Yeah, most of the time. Tracks that we could go to if we wanted to, that they do Wednesdays. North Carolina every Wednesday.
Yeah.
But it's it's a good, it's like I said, it's a fun time. And the good thing about going to over in Knoxville at the Nationals for Monday, Tuesday at the go kart track, you'll get guys like Donnie Schatz, Rico Abreu, Kyle Larson, Clint Boyer, Kyle Busch, Kelly Earnhardt. She's there. Um, you get a lot of big people that come and
Hmm.
watch the go kart races, and
Yeah,
they get a lot of carts at that track on them 2 days.
they do. And I'll tell you that. So last year was the first time I came to the track. I went and stayed at Lori's. By the way, Lori has a beautiful retreat. I'm going to call it a racer's retreat. When they built their house, the whole basement is completely finished. It's all decorated for racers. It's absolutely amazing. I was lucky enough to get to stay there last year, um, downstairs in it, and it's just beautiful. And I'm sure it's rented out for that week. But anyway, um, and so I got to come and go to English Creek. It's out in the middle of nowhere. It's okay. You can find it, you can get there. But the number of people that were there, just oh my gosh, they're just all parked, and it's a little bit hilly, there. It's like somebody's farm field that they turned
Yep.
into a racetrack. It's hilly, but there are campers and carts everywhere. Like, you just have to really watch where you're going, because there's hundreds of them, isn't there?
I think they get close to 170 or 180 carts for them 2 days, but
Right.
they normally get 100. English Creek is one of the top facilities in Iowa for go kart racing. Probably, I would say they're ranked up there with Millbridge, because
Hmm.
people come from South Dakota, which is 7.5, 8 hours every week. The kid that's leading points against Adriana every week is from South Dakota to race. So,
Wow.
and you hear different states all the time there. So it is a big I wish it wasn't 2.5 hours away. That's the only downfall, but because we don't,
Hmm.
you know, on a normal night of racing, we don't pull in our driveway till about 3 or 3:30 in the morning. So
Yeah.
it wears a guy out.
It absolutely does. And, and if you want to go race somewhere on Saturday, it's like, oh, I mean, that's exhausting. I know it is. And you pull a trailer and everything. It's exhausting. But think if you came 7 or 8 hours, they have to spend the night.
Yep.
So I don't know if they have a camper or not, but that gets expensive too.
So the kid that's leading, his name is Cole Garner. His dad, Clint Garner, races sprint cars at Knoxville. So they just
Okay.
they have a big toter. They just bring everything in it, sleep in it, and then they race go karts Friday night. He has two kids that race, and then he races sprint cars Saturday night.
Well, that kind of makes it a little more worth it. If he's going to make the trip, at least he's racing and the kids are racing all at this, but that's still, I just can't even imagine looking at that drive. So that's about how far it is from here to Nashville. So I just went to Nashville, couple Fridays, actually it'll be 2 weeks ago Saturday. I went to Nashville, spent a week with my daughter, her husband, her kids. They rented a house on the lake. My son-in-law works in Nashville 3 weeks of the month, and then the fourth week of the month he is able to stay in Phoenix, where they're from. Long story why that happened that way, but it did. And so, but we love Nashville. And so we went, my oldest daughter, Maddie McKenna, my granddaughter's that race, and McKenna's boyfriend. We all went. We stayed at the house on the lake, which was really nice. It was hotter than heck there, but that's 7.5 hours it took me to get there. So I'm just thinking, if I had to do that every weekend,
Mhm.
oh, I couldn't do it.
The kicker to it is, go kart racing. Most tracks, you don't get a paycheck. So,
No.
like, they're driving that far and not getting anything in return besides Saturday night when they race the sprint car. So that's the kicker to go kart racing, is most tracks do not pay out. Like the Illinois tracks, thank goodness they do, but around here you're basically racing for a trophy.
So I was just going to ask you, so why is it then that the Illinois tracks pay out, even if it's a little bit, it might help cover something? Why don't they do that in Iowa or wherever else? What about Millbridge? Do they pay out?
Only thing I can think of is I mean it's not a it's a bad thing to say, but it's greed because they just know they can do it. All these kids want to race. They just their parents are going to do it regardless. So
Yeah.
uh, if we when we go over to Illinois, most nights there's only four carts in Adriana's class, and when she wins, she gets $100. I mean, that pays for your basically your night there with gas
Right.
pass. I've never figured out why payouts don't happen in go kart racing and why we allow it to not happen. You know, I figured up what people wise and how much these tracks are making off of us go kart racers. It's just insane. They're just I would feel horrible if I wasn't paying out people.
Yeah, I mean, because so what is a pit pass? Do you pay pit passes there?
So yeah, so let's just do this scenario. If you go race a big car, like if I'm in an IMCA modified, I go to the racetrack. I pay a one-time fee of like $40. That's my registration for the year, and I buy a pit pass every week, $25. So you go to a go kart track, you pay $30 for a registration fee every single night, plus a $25 pit pass.
Whoa.
So
For
and
everybody in the so like if there's four of you, that's $100.
yep. If, so when we go race English Creek, gas included, it's a $500 weekend for gas and pit passes and everything total.
Right.
So and you don't get nothing in return, which we knew it going into it, but
Yeah.
it like if you don't have a transponder, you have to rent one of their transponders, and it's $10. So there's it's just crazy to think about that kind of stuff. I don't I
Yeah. I
these other
never really thought about that. I don't know. I guess I didn't realize that you didn't get anything.
yep
And
yeah,
nobody, I mean, little kids love trophies, but honestly, after a while, how many can you really have? And it's like my daughter played Gus Macker. My daughters did years ago, and my one daughter especially was on a team that was really good, and we traveled everywhere, Ottumwa, Iowa, all over the place. And I don't know how many of those Gus Macker trophies I threw away. I mean, again, you don't go there to earn money because these are kids.
yeah.
They can't earn money, playing a sport. But darn, I never thought about that. And then, so Brad Smith, I don't know if you know him or not, but Brad's listening. Thanks, Brad, for being on the show with us tonight. And he said 100% agree. So, maybe it's time to kind of gather some support from the parents at that track. I mean, nothing against English Creek. If this is how they've done it and they've always done it, and I get that, why change on their part? But wouldn't you think that they'd want to give something back, I guess?
Yeah, I don't even think the points fund pays anything. I mean, it's just mind boggling to think like how they get away with why we let them get away with not paying out. Like all we got to do is just get everybody together and not show up and say, hey, we're
Right.
we're just going to not race until you start giving us something. If I got $20, I'd be happy. Hey,
Well, or if you could at least have a chance to earn 100 or more back, that at least covers your some of your cost. I mean, it doesn't cover your 500, but it would cover something. So Brad Smith said, we held a race down there that paid 1,000 to win, 750 for second, 500 for third, and 100 to start the A. Everyone was super pumped about it. Well, of course they were, and honestly, when you're dealing with kids, so you and I both know, Brett, it's hard to get sponsors,
oh yeah,
right? Like you and I are partners. As far as we're really going to try to get some sponsors for this show and some other things that we're doing because it's all out of pocket right now. And so it's really hard to do that because if it's a racing company or somebody that supplies race parts or whatever, everybody's trying to get them. So we're going to try to go after some other people that
yeah.
aren't race parts. But you think about it, but when kids are involved, people tend to be more likely to support. So you can't tell me that as those people coming from all that, far away, and they have good attendance, and especially for the nationals, that track couldn't get some yearly sponsors enough to pay something back. And they'd still be making money, but they could pay something back.
I 100% agree. I mean, and they do pay. So nationals, in the 250s, I think it's 1,000 to win, and in the open class, it's 5,000 or sorry, 2,500 to win. But I don't think they pay out the other little kids. So
Hmm.
they do pay the nationals. And there's some other all them races that week are all 1,000 to win at least. So
Yeah.
that's you can make money back by doing that, but as much as I don't. People ask me, why do you stay in go karts? Well, we like it, the class we're in. We like that them carts, but we could go to a modified or a stock car or a sport mod and get paid. But everybody in go karts, especially at English Creek, wants their kid to be in a sprint car eventually.
Mm-hmm.
You got to stay with something that is like a sprint car that that the kids are gonna. If you go
Right.
get if you go get in a modified, that's gonna teach you a totally different kind of driving style than. So
Right.
that's why we do it. I don't want to stay in go karts forever, but we got to race within our means too. So I mean,
Yeah.
it
And
just
here's another thing Brad said, and I totally agree with this, and this is across the board. He said another thing promoters need to realize is quit paying a big first place and no other place. So there's a lot of tracks that do that. So for instance, on Friday night, Kalamazoo Speedway, my favorite track, my home track, is going to pay 1,000 to win for all the classes that run there. I think there's 5 classes, which is a big deal, especially if you're a front wheel drive or a street stock. Even the late models, they can go to races where they pay even bigger than that, but for that's pretty good for a track to be paying that out to those drivers. Now I don't know what they're paying for second, third, whatever on down, but or to start. I haven't looked it up, but I just know Maddie told me today it's 1,000 to win. Her boyfriend is Brock Gannis, and he's going to be racing there, Friday night. And so, but what about second, third, fourth, and fifth? What if there's only one person going to get the
yeah,
$1,000 that you're talking about, and more likely than not, that person is going to win more than one race. Probably.
yeah,
I mean, maybe not. Maybe somebody will get lucky and win one, but the ones who typically run up front and win on a weekly basis, you look at the point leaders, you can kind of tell, then they're the ones that are going to probably have the best chance of winning that money every night. What does the second place get? And like Brad, he said 750 for second. The race they had, that's pretty good. I would think. I think you'd be tickled
oh,
for Adriana to get second and have a 750 payout. You
for,
know?
yeah, I agree 100% with Brad. We took that route last year. We had a big race here. We A bunch of us dads set it up. We all chipped money in. And I started it, and I said, I do not want it to be a big money race to win. I want it to be, if you show up to our track, same way with Brad did, you automatically get $100 to race. So
Mm-hmm.
cart count, and they went from 4 carts to like 14 carts, just because we had, you get
Yeah.
100 bucks to go start the feature. I mean, who's
Right.
not going to go up? You don't even if, I mean, so I don't get it. It's a really good subject, and we could talk all day about it. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it I one of these days, something's got to change with.
Well, and it's gonna take somebody, a person, somebody along the line there who's gonna be the ringleader and say, hey, look, just getting here, just paying gas now, Brett, for you to get there has probably increased 50% or more.
Oh yeah, yeah, $220 a round trip to go race English Creek.
Wow.
Yeah,
And so, okay, so you know somebody at some point has to be like, okay, we need to get organized. And you don't want to, it's nothing against the guy running English
No.
Creek. It has nothing to do with that. It could be Happy Hollow Raceway somewhere else, and they're doing the same thing. And I'm sure it's other tracks too. We're just using them as an example because we're familiar and we know that. But somebody's got to get around to those parents and be like, what do you think about trying to get them to do this? And or going to talk to the promoter, the owner, whoever, and say, look, it's costing me $500 a week to race here. I want my kids to come and race. And if you had 15, 20, 30 parents standing there and be like, what can you do? What can you do to help us? We want to keep racing. We love our track. We love coming here, but at some point it has to end because prices aren't going down.
Yeah.
When your cart needs fixed, the parts aren't any cheaper than they were last year, are they? They're more expensive if you can even get them.
Yeah, and if I don't know which Brad Smith's commenting, but if it's Brad, Kenley was on the show. They were the cover photo. I don't know if that's him commenting, but
Yeah,
you
I
know,
don't know either. So, Brad, tell us where you're from if you're still listening. No, unless you don't want to, unless you want to be incognito. But
it could be Kenley's dad or it could be Zane Smith's dad. I can't see the comment. Did he comment?
he said yes, it is. So you're Kinley's dad. I
So
take it.
so he's right now. I don't know if they're going to make it to the Nationals because uh, they're waiting on parts too, and money wise, and
Yeah,
they just bought a sprint car to get ready for next year.
right.
And Kenley's a good driver. If I had a spare motor, I would be giving it to Brad to come race the Nationals because I want I want to support any women in motorsports for sure. But
Yeah,
I know what their struggle is with, especially with just buying a sprint car and getting it ready, and now their season ends because of a motor issue and they can't
yeah.
get money, or it just sucks to see. And we was talking about sponsors earlier. I just read a post, can't remember what it was on, that it might have been on Shipped Up Now or whatever, but it said women are struggling getting sponsors in
Mm-hmm.
compared to men, and
Yeah.
we don't know. Nobody can
Why?
figure out why. We know. I don't know if they don't take it serious or I don't know.
I don't know because there's so many successful women out there. Like, I unfortunately this week and the last several weeks, I've been so consumed with my life and what I'm trying to deal with and get settled. But I get messages, I follow Facebook and I see so many girls from little tiny girls to high school to college and older women that are so good and they're successful. They're winning races, they're winning championships. Why can't they get sponsors? And, here's the thing, I say this over and over, but we're having the same trouble, you and I, getting sponsorship for what we do. There's so many businesses that women are the primary purchaser of their product, whether it's a car. A woman, typically, if you're in a family, you went to buy a car. If Aaron didn't like it, you wouldn't buy it, would you?
No.
No. So women typically are the person that chooses the final result on a car more times than not. They go to the grocery store. What kind of green beans do they buy? What kind of frozen pizza do they buy? What kind of hairspray and hair shampoo do they buy? 99% it's women that are making those decisions. So why can't we get Totino's Pizza to be a sponsor? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or Banquet Frozen Foods, or there's so many companies. I have a list in Excel. I probably sent it to you. It's got hundreds of company names on it. And they would get so much publicity from sponsoring Kinley Smith or Adriana Timmerman or Let's Talk Racing or whether, because you know why? Nothing against the men. I love you, Brett. But women tend to be the ones that are really good at the social media promotion.
Yeah.
And so if let's just say the Jolly Green Giants sponsored our podcast, do you think I'd be sharing recipes, how to use it, talking about Jolly Green Giant, whatever it might be, all the time? Of course. They don't get it. And I don't know, how do you get across to companies like that about how important it is to sponsor women in motorsports, because the women get so much attention at the track.
It, it, I totally agree. It's I'm not, I look at a lot of social media for women. Like,
Right.
I follow a lot of racing pages. I don't see a lot of drivers promoting product besides at the racetrack. Like,
No.
I know, like us, every time we make a post, we're promoting somebody's product.
Mm-hmm.
It, and I don't understand it. Like, I'm working super hard on Rowdy Energy. I'm going through the hoops trying to get to somebody, and they won't respond, or
Yeah.
or they just send me to somebody else, and you know, I just want to walk up to Kyle and just be like, why? What? Like, tell me why. Like, what do we need to do? I
Yeah.
don't want you don't even I don't even want you to be a team owner. I just want you to see that we promote your
Right.
product for free. We run your logo. We give your product away. We we have you on our race suit now. And I've asked for permission to be able to do that from Kyle, and he said, "Yeah, we love what you're doing. You're just not ready." Well, how do you get ready if you
Right.
don't have the support?
Right. Exactly. And I've done okay, so I've done 150 or so podcasts. Okay. I've done 50 or more issues of a magazine. And we promote women. I don't discriminate. If somebody's willing to fill out the questionnaire and tell me their story, at some point they're going to get in a magazine. Like right now, I've got a lot of stories to get in. But so it might be a month or two before they're all in. But we promote them, we let them tell their sponsors, we let them tell their story. This last issue, I've had people reach out to me, hey, did you write the story on so and so, how do I get copies, I want to share it with this and that. Here's the link, all you got to do is print it off. It's a digital magazine, it's free, it comes to you free to your email.
Yeah.
I don't ask, it's time, it's that's what it takes, is my time, and it takes hours. I love it though. And I love sharing those stories. But if I could find some sponsors, and you and I have talked about it, we don't need 100 sponsors. We need 5 good sponsors or marketing partners or whatever. 5.
You know, it,
Wouldn't you think we could find 5 people who wanted to spend $100 a month or $500 a month?
it, it
It'd make a huge difference for what we'd be able to do.
it's tough. And we have big. Me and you both have talked about it. We have big goals for the Women's Motorsport Network, and eventually we want to get where we're traveling and
Yep.
we're promoting, promoting what we do for women. And as we do that, if we can get people to realize what we do, what women will do for the sport, if we can do that for our job, your product's going to get promoted
Oh,
all over the country. More like all over.
all over the hauler going down the road, all over my camper going down the road. Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. It's like they just don't, I don't know if companies just don't believe in it. Companies that haven't been involved in motorsports don't really get the impact that people have, because my kids played lots of different sports, basketball and all different kinds of sports. There's no family and there's no group of people like the racing community. And I don't care if it's here or Australia or South Africa or wherever it is, because we're all one. And you can compete on the track, we know this, but if somebody needs something or whatever, they're all right there. There's no other sport like this. There's no other sport where you can get up close and personal to drivers like you can in motorsports. So I don't know if you watched the SRX series on television, but I was watching the other night, and the announcers were talking to Tony Stewart while he was racing.
Yeah.
Now I realize that's a little different kind of series. But here they are. Like NASCAR, Dale Jr. He's talking to, Ryan Blaney while there's a yellow or a caution or whatever. You don't hear the announcers talking to Tom Brady
Yeah.
when there's a timeout at the football game. You can't go to the locker room or where he's parked his car, Tom Brady, and have access. But if you're at a motorsport event and you play your cards right, you could very easily walk across or come across several drivers.
Yeah.
Or, so why don't they get that we can do so much for their products?
I don't know if anybody's listening and you have any ideas that to help us out.
Yeah.
Leave us a message or a comment, and give us some ideas, because I know a lot of people struggle. If anybody is needing help finding sponsors, a good person, and I've been watching her. I haven't bought anything from her, but she posts free stuff all the time. Is Megan Meyer, and
oh yeah,
she is a very good coach for.
Yep.
Yeah. And
yeah, absolutely.
So I'm gonna
And
give.
she's lived it. That's the thing. She's done that. It's not somebody who thinks they know how to do it. It's somebody who's actually done it. And she's so smart about it. And she's so willing to help people. I totally agree. Follow Megan Meyer. She used to drag race. And
not used to.
Yeah, I know. She just started again. I saw that.
She had a kid and retired.
Yeah.
Started doing the social media gig, and she's not going full-time racing, but she actually came back and then won the
I
night.
saw that.
So I would definitely suggest following Megan Meyer. She is.
Yeah.
If you're trying to get far in the advertising world, I probably shouldn't tell people that, because it could take away from us if they learn more. But Megan is a very good person. I've reached out to her dealing with, I have a teenage girl that races, and Megan was a teenage girl and Adriana, this year kind of slowed down just a little. And I said, Megan, what do I do? I just emailed her. I'm like, I'm at a loss. I don't know what to do. She's like, to be honest with you, I miss not being a kid. Let your daughter just be a kid, and she still wants to race. Let her race. She helped me through that hard time.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even know me. I just,
right.
She was willing to reach out. So
yeah, she was on my podcast, and you could probably go back and listen to it a long time ago. And then her sister was on, and then Julie, that's on their team, has been on. And Julie, I met her, and I just love Julie. Julie and I have become friends in that. But I'll tell you what, Megan is an excellent source of help and advice. Brad Smith said, the biggest thing I have learned is make sure your sponsors are tied together. Example, real estate, bank, and lenders. Great idea. Then they all feed off each other as well. Just an idea. Can be anything. Auto shop and car wash place. That's a great idea, Brad. Thank you for that. I hadn't really ever thought of that, but find 3 or 4 sponsors who like, it's a stepping stone. They help each other.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah, that's really good. That's good. Don't let me forget that, Brett. We got to work on that this fall. So, yeah. We didn't think we were going to have much of a show, and look, it's 20 to 8. You and I can just talk all night.
And we had good subjects. This was we don't always have to have a guest to have a good subject. And,
that's true.
Might open the door for people, and it might open the door for go-kart racers.
Yeah.
And it's a good show. Have a guest, but we got some good conversation in.
Yeah, and it helps when we have people, that do comment and interact. It's like having a guest, even though you can't see them or hear them. You're getting their feedback and their ideas, and I love Brad's idea. I'm going to have to sit down and kind of make. I love Excel, so I'll make me an Excel sheet with different columns and how those companies help each other. And I think that's a great idea. Yeah, we've there's got to be people out there. We just haven't found him yet, is the thing. And so, Lori Ann, she says, great show. I'm not sure who Lori Ann is, but thanks, Lori, for being on the show. And she says, great show, y'all. We
But
feel it. And
so
she's got prayer hands.
Lori is Abby Gunter's mom.
Okay. Okay. All right, Lori, thanks for being on the show and listening. Love knowing that our guests are listening and that they think it's a great show, even if it's just the two of us, but we don't ever seem to have trouble talking, do we?
No, we don't. I actually get to talk when we don't have a guest.
Okay, well then, I'm gonna set you up as an admin, and I'm gonna take a couple weeks off here and there, and then you'll have to do the whole thing, and there you go.
Oh, you
So
got me. Now I don't know if I can do that.
You can do it. You can do it. It's no different than sitting here talking to me. So no, that's easy.
I'm hoping that I'm working on for next week getting Amelia Eisencheck, which is Donnie Schatz's niece.
Okay.
She just made history at the I-90 Speedway, becoming the youngest driver. Donnie Schatz was the youngest at 23. Now Amelia is the youngest at 14. So,
wow.
So they both, that's a good family deal. Donnie owns their race team, but she actually won the last. I think she's raced 3 races and won 2 of them in her first time ever in sprint cars. So I want to get her on the show. She seems like a fun person on her videos. And
now they were at English Creek last year when I was there.
She raced in Adriana's class last year.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. Hopefully we'll get her on. And we love suggestions from people too. So if you know somebody that would make a great guest, we love our young kids, but sometimes they're not as talkative as we'd like, but we still, get them on and with their parents or whatever. We like them older. We like them even older, like me. It doesn't matter. But if you know somebody that you think would be a great guest for us, reach out to Brett or I and tell us and how to get a hold of the person, and we'll, check it out and maybe get them on the show. So we're open, aren't we? We have an open calendar, and we just want to promote women and talk about how they impact the sport. When I do a magazine interview, one of the things I ask them is, how are you or will you impact motorsports? And some people, say, I want to leave it better than I found it. Some people say, I try to encourage anyone who's interested to try out, and be in motorsports, man or woman. There's so many different answers, and they're all right. Every one of them is correct. So a photographer said, I want to take the best pictures so those people have their memories. That's a great answer. And that's a huge way to impact. So, there's lots of women out there that are impacting motorsports. We just need to find them.
Yeah, 100%. And speaking of impact, Riley Joe, we had her on the show. She's 9. She might be a little younger than 9, but I just seen her on the news the other day. They shared they do a huge backpack giveaway.
Yeah.
Every year, I think they're looking at like 500 backpacks or
right.
So, and they do a bunch of stuff. So it's RJO Racing on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to donate, check them out. I'm sure that they just did a peanut butter drive. I've never heard of it.
I haven't either.
But they did a peanut butter drive, and they're all about helping
the community
that helps them. So
they are.
If you can send out some, I think they take money to go buy the backpack, so you don't have to send everything. So
yeah,
if they're still doing it, I plan on sending something their way.
Yeah,
thinking about that today. So that's what made me talk about it. So just check it out, RJO Racing on Facebook.
And she's been winning, and she's amazing little racer. So not only is she good on the track, but really what impresses me about her is what she does off the track.
Yeah, 100%.
The things that she and her family do are lessons for all of us, even as as an older person, a mama. There's things that's like, wow, I could be doing some of those things. I could instigate, at one of our tracks. I mean, Kalamazoo used to do that. I don't know if they do anymore. They had a school school backpack night where drivers and anybody could donate backpacks and then kids could get them, but there's so many things that you could do to help out your community. And gosh, the way things are and the prices at the grocery store, more and more people are going to need help, and so we need to be conscious of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
I get to go break the bad news. I got a message that 4-cylinder. We were supposed to race a 4-cylinder tomorrow night. Somebody offered Adriana to drive their car. Well, they didn't. They took the 4-cylinders off the schedule at the track we were going to. I get to go tell Adriana she doesn't get to do that now.
Oh man. Well, that stinks. That stinks. She would have had so much fun doing that.
She was looking. She was looking really forward to it.
I bet.
Being on a big track, but so you can see us at English Creek on Friday night.
That's okay. All right, and you always post how you do and stuff. So, follow the Timmermans. It's Adriana Timmerman Racing.
Yep.
Yeah, Adriana Timmerman Racing. So
she's actually just became a lot more active on her her YouTube. So
okay.
Her YouTube is Adriana Timmerman. Just what she has it as, but we shared the link on the racing page.
Okay. Awesome. Well, this has been a great show. Maybe every 3 weeks or so we should just, you and I, have a topic in that we're going to talk about.
Yeah, that's
Yeah. We're both more comfortable now doing this. I think I was comfortable, honestly, from the start. I think you were a little more not sure, but after the first week, I think you're like, oh yeah, I can do this. And so.
Oh yeah, I have a good open personality, and so I don't have trouble talking.
Right. So we'll if you've got some topics you want us to talk about or whatever, we're open to that. Let's do it. So I do have to say that, I'm the NASCAR gal. I was really disappointed that my JGR guys got disqualified and had to go to the tail of the winners over the weekend. But so Chase Elliott got the win, and Hamlin really got the win, but he got disqualified, and so did my guy Kyle Busch. So, when kids are racing and they get discouraged because they spin out or whatever happens, and they end up, look at the big guys, same thing happens to them, and really what was wrong with their car wasn't the driver's fault.
No.
But it's a team effort.
I'm betting the drivers didn't even know what on their car.
No.
Here's the shameful part of what happened over the weekend. If you look at social media, it is constantly bad-mouthing Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch for cheating. They have pictures of Denny's young girl crying. They have a checker flag of her holding it, and people are just like cruel. It's like
mean. They're just mean. It's downright mean.
It's like, come on, people. Like, sometimes I get involved. I don't like to, but I do it. But I started sharing a post about Chase Elliott getting caught cheating. I'm like, look, Chase Elliott's a cheater too. So it's not just them two drivers. The guy that won has been caught cheating. Everybody in NASCAR has.
Absolutely.
They're doing something to affect their car in some point, but it's just crazy to see the hate in the world. I mean,
yeah.
I just told somebody last night, I have a love-hate relationship with Facebook or any social media.
Mm-hmm.
I love it for what we do, advertising.
Yeah.
I hate it for the hate. I'm not a hateful guy. I hate it for the hate in the world.
Yeah. Well, and like you said, those drivers didn't cause that to happen. And I don't know if you listen to two of my favorite podcasts are Door Bumper Clear, which is Dirty Mo Media, which is Dale Earnhardt's company. Door Bumper Clear, which is the Three Spotters. They're hysterical. I laugh, and I usually save it to listen to when I go to bed at night. It airs on Monday night. I put my headphones in because my husband snores, and I listen to Door Bumper Clear. And sometimes I fall asleep before it's over, and then I listen to it the next day. But I have literally laughed out loud listening to them. I love that podcast. They're honest. They're, they tell you how it is. And then the other side of that is I love Dale Jr., Dale Jr. download. And again, they'll even talk on there when they have guests. You cheated. We all did. It's not, and it wasn't even cheating. What is it they say? It was creative thinking or something. And it wasn't. I don't necessarily even like the word cheating. It Everybody was trying to find an advantage over somebody else.
Yep. I mean,
And it's just how it was. And it goes on, still goes on today. And that's just part of the sport. But I agree with you. The hate that people have, and it's like I said, it wasn't their fault. They didn't make the front of the car or whatever it was that was too low, too high off, whatever was wrong with it. And so I feel bad. And Fiona says, damn, that makes me so mad. Probably about Kyle Busch getting. I'm kidding, Fiona. I don't know what part of it makes you mad, but she said, these are kids, little kids watching their dads, moms, whatever, be treated so cruelly, and it's just not right.
I
But
think I think the picture of Denny's daughter crying was when she was in victory lane,
mm-hmm.
and everybody started booing him. And
Yeah,
made her, it's like that's if you can boo somebody and make their kid cry and not just quit booing or and keep going and yelling, then you're not a good human being.
no, absolutely, I 100% agree. That's not the philosophy that we work under. We connect and celebrate women in motorsports because we want to pump everybody up, not bring everybody down. And that's what we try to do.
I mean, I'm pushing for my daughter to become somebody, and I'm pushing for everybody else's daughter to become somebody. So
Right.
I don't have to do this just
No.
I don't do this just because I do this because I want to help everybody. That's just how I've always been.
Yeah. Fiona says social media is a blessing and a curse. If you don't know how to use it, you shouldn't be on it. I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah. 100%. All right. Well, great show tonight, Brett. Before we started, we were like, well, this might be the shortest show on earth. And then look, it's almost 8 o'clock. So we've done really well. We've had good conversation with our people through the comments. We appreciate all of you listening. And again, if you have anybody that you think we should interview, or you have a topic that you would like us to hash out or whatever, just reach out to Brett Timmerman or Melinda Russell, and we'll see what we can do. And good luck this weekend. None of my granddaughter's not racing this weekend, so we have the weekend off. But we will probably be going to Kalamazoo to watch Brock Gannis race. That's her boyfriend, and maybe Galesburg on Saturday. So we'll see what the weather does. But good luck, and we'll see you and talk to you again on Wednesday. And if you don't hear from me, Brett, remind me that it's Wednesday.
I'll remind you Tuesday night. If I don't see a link, I'll remind you.
Okay, sounds good. All
All right.
right, everybody. Have a great night, and we'll see you next week.
Yep. See ya.